Mm-hmm.
Yo, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel, guys. And this is the big episode this week, the one we're all looking forward to. And I guess we sort of knew what was coming, but there is a lot to unpack, a lot to discuss, and we're short on time this week. But we're gonna try. I got to run through. I got notes of like what happened during the episode, so I'll quickly say my quick recap. And initially, when I was watching it with my and just a quick note, I'm gonna title this episode something about did Ahsoka live up to the hype, because I guess that was the main attraction. But
Mm.
initially when I watched the episode, I had my mate sitting next to me watching it, and he jumped off the couch. He's like, "Oh shit!" And when the white lightsabers came out straight away, straight off the bat in the episode, it was like straight into
Good.
Ahsoka. I was I was freaking out already. I was like, "Oh!" Straight off the bat, we saw her white lightsabers. Like, what a way to subvert
Yeah.
expectations. That's how you do it. Like, we all thought we're gonna follow Mando, then she'll come up and we'll see her, but straight off the bat into the planet on Corvus, and we see it. It's like run down. It's been mainly like burnt down, sort of like bushfires or whatever.
Yeah.
Mad imperial assault. Something happened, and then I said, so we got like a Helm's Deep looking type of war around Corvus, where we have like, and then we see it's run by an imperial, and obviously at the start her name's the Magistrate. Sorry, I'm just running off my notes quickly, and she has a pure Beskar spear, which he tries to give to Mando
Mm.
in return to kill Ahsoka, because Ahsoka wants to information of the Magistrate, and we later find out that the Magistrate is her name's Morgan Espeth, and she helped build Imperial starships during the obviously for the rise of the Empire, and her people were massacred during the Clone War. Hence, her rise, and she started taking over systems, and we see that she's imprisoned a lot of people, sort of like a slave-run place. But yeah, and then I touched on a term that I learned in ancient history that there's a lot of in Mandalorian, quid pro quo. There's a lot of you do something in my like a lot something for something. There's a lot for that in Mando, and then again we have that this episode when obviously Mando gets to see Ahsoka, and then he's like, "If I help you liberate and get to the magistrate to help get your information, you help train Yoda." Because initially, baby Yoda, who initially find his name's Grogu now, and
My boy.
Mm.
yeah, and then that was the deal they had in exchange, and then we find out Mando even like Ahsoka ends it turns on the deal anyway. But yeah, that was
Yeah.
just a quick recap of what I could think of my notes. Sorry for blurring on too much. On to you guys now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted to start on the initial plan. This is a little bit of a. I mean, with the very first scene, I actually thought Ahsoka like looked cool how she
Yeah,
was moving, but I did think she was moving a little slow. If I'm being dead honest,
Yeah, 100%.
like she was looked like moving slower, just a little bit. Like maybe because it's live action and it's not like zippy
yeah,
cartoon animation. I thought she was just a tad slow. I think maybe they, but the thing is, she didn't look slow in the Clone Wars season 7, and I know that's animated, but that
Yeah.
was mocap, like motion captured by people.
yeah. Are you
So
talking
I
about
don't,
like? Are you talking about like the
but I she
fluidity
could
of
have
it?
been a bit, yeah, like it just seemed like her kills were very like if there was two people, like she would be able to take them because she was that slow
Yeah,
almost. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that was good. I wanted to go to the next point, which was that I thought that the whole deal with like Ahsoka, well, the Mando was it Ahsoka that said that if you help me, no, he said I'll help you take them out as long as you train Grogu.
Yeah.
yeah,
Um, Even then, Ahsoka didn't need his help. Like in that entire siege, the only thing that Mando does is kill like the head of the ex-military guy,
yeah,
and
Yeah,
like
that's true.
it was kind of a cool way, but like he should have seen that he wasn't really needed, and maybe he couldn't have seen, but he wasn't even kind of annoyed that she kind of
yeah,
crossed the deal. Now I thought he would have been a bit more like because the Mando, although he like likes the child, this Ahsoka doesn't even want to help him.
yeah.
Essentially, I thought he took it maybe a little too lightly. He should have been a bit more holding his ground.
Yeah.
Obviously, he's there to help. But yeah, that was what I initially thought.
Like I even
Mm.
knew last week when Bo-Katan said, "Oh, the Jedi I know is Ahsoka." I said in the last episode, Ahsoka is not a
Yeah.
Jedi, and then we find out in
Yeah,
this episode she has her own goals similar to Bo-Katan. So technically, they're sort of like mouthpieces for Mando. Oh,
yeah,
she's told him you got to get to another objective, similar to Bo-Katan told him, "Oh, you've got to
Right.
get to Ahsoka." And Ahsoka sort of, and the reveal was amazing. Like this episode was for Clone Wars and Rebels fans, but
Yeah.
my issue is with like when I was speaking to our other mate about it when he was talking about leave it for the animated shows because if Star Wars fans want to watch the animated shows or like they want to go into extra content, they will. But for a casual or like a normal Star Wars fan watching Mandalorian, when they hear the name drop of Thrawn, I was like squealing my pants. I was like, oh my
Yes.
gosh, that's amazing. Because like when you hear Thrawn, you think Ezra. When you think Ezra, you think Sabine and Ahsoka and the end of Rebels. But normal casual fans might not understand that, and they have to do research. Obviously, so you can tell even there was little Easter eggs with the Loth cat, and then at the start you had the Morai. So it's this the daughter
Yeah, the owl.
from the three. Yeah, the daughter from the
Yeah.
three gods of
Yeah,
Mortis.
I saw
So
that. Yeah.
That's
there was a
right.
lot of Easter eggs thrown
Yeah.
in that only certain fans would get, and I guess I absolutely loved the episode. I've heard some people being a bit divided on Ahsoka in terms of how she was
Yeah.
portrayed, but if it's just a one-off thing and how it was portrayed as a one-off thing, I guess I loved it. I actually loved it. I don't
agree.
regret my purchase for a lightsaber now. She's still my favorite character. That $500 well spent, but like,
Shut up, nerd.
but in terms of like, yeah,
I mean, just because she's your like favorite character doesn't mean that like
yeah,
every episode she's in has to be like a 10 out of 10 kind of episode,
exactly.
you know?
That's why I'm like,
Like,
even though she's my favorite character, I'm happy as a one-off live action. Keep it to the animated her
Mm.
journey. Don't do a spin-off show because I feel like, yeah, I don't know. I can see how
it'd be
some
interesting to
people-
see where they take her.
I can see how some people might think it'd be weird seeing her live action because I saw some people complaining, oh, that's not her voice, or her voice doesn't match her face, or she looks too old,
Yeah.
or yeah, as
Yeah.
Cameron was saying, I have never heard someone, I never saw like I was looking at Twitter before, no one pointed out her movement and how she was a bit, Cameron was
Yeah.
saying, a bit too slow.
Yeah.
So there
Would
seems
she
to
be
like-
too old? I'm not
I
like
think
I
it was
can't. I didn't think about
perfectly
it. How old-
aged.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I thought she
shouldn't
was
she
Sharon
be that
Rebels
young?
isn't that long ago. Yeah,
thought
like
she was-
I think she's fine.
I was watching
Yeah.
Star Wars Theory and he's saying that he was looking at the time periods and he's saying that means she's still on her quest to find Ezra and Thrawn, and he was saying it's been about 5 years then, so she's still been
Yeah,
searching
that makes
a long
sense.
time. Like God knows where those space whales took him in hyperspace. What they were called.
Yeah.
True, that's a
And-
weird episode.
So that means that because I thought originally, like with the Mandalorian, that it was actually going to be a like a much longer time skip than just like 5 years or whatever it
Yeah.
was. Because one thing that I can't like that I was a bit like confused with is that fight between her and like the magistrate, like she took on Darth Maul like one on one
Yeah.
and beat him. Like
Yeah,
I was a
that's
bit
true.
surprised that she like struggled the way she did, and especially that fight as well seemed like it. It seemed like original trilogy fights compared to
Yeah.
like the prequel kind of fights
Yeah.
in that.
I know
in
exactly
that
what you
way.
mean.
Like
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like they
The
were very
thing-
slow and just kind of stood there and like.
I think
Yeah.
we're all a bit shocked
Yeah.
about, not a bit shocked, but like the way Beskar can take on the lightsaber. Obviously, it's
Yeah,
sort of,
that
it's
was
sort of
big.
similar to the
That was
MCU
big.
version of Vibranium. I think it's called that, the Wakandan metal.
Yeah,
It's sort of similar to
Yeah.
that, like in terms of how strong it is, and it can take on like alien species. But in terms of
yeah,
like
yeah.
when she was fighting the magistrate, I'm like, oh, this is easy, like easy for Ahsoka. I mean, she took on Vader as well, and she's taken on
Yeah.
Yeah.
many people. Like she took on Maul, not even in her prime.
Grievous.
Yet. She was really young, and
Mm.
She took on Grievous as
Yeah.
like a youngling almost.
yeah, and I like how
Oh,
she's
that one.
fearless in this. She's not afraid to take on like the magistrate Morgan Esbeth. But in terms of like, she left it as hand-to-hand combat when she didn't use any force abilities to sort of like take out the Beskar spear or like push her away.
Yeah.
Or like, yeah, like the force
I actually
wasn't used.
personally would have liked to see that. I actually would have liked to see a bit of force use
Yeah,
because
like
they're not
there
going to
wasn't
be.
any-
Yeah, I thought it was
Mm.
just. I thought it was one like cool scene. I know that she did it in Rebels. How she like ignites the lightsaber like that, like
Yeah.
two in the middle. She did. She was
Oh
like
yeah, she did
taking
that.
out one of the guys. I thought it was pretty sick
Yeah.
when she got behind them.
like
But yeah, to yeah, go. You
I
go.
felt
Because I'm
like,
gonna change it. a little.
yeah, I felt like I wanted to see her use the force more in that fight, just to make her look like.
Same.
Honestly, when she hit her lightsaber out of her hand into the water, I was like, oh crap,
Yeah.
like Ahsoka's a bit vulnerable. But like I knew where the
Yeah.
fight was going mainly, but I don't know, it's just something like it would have been nice to see her use the force a bit more and like
Yeah.
like be more imposing on the fight, just like
Yeah.
because we know who Ahsoka and how powerful she can be, And I feel like that fight
Yeah.
made it look like I think they tried to make it look like the magistrate is a worthy
It was
opponent. When like we know
yeah,
Ahsoka
like a
should
lot
have
of
easily.
tension.
Yeah.
And to
Yeah.
be fair, like you don't want her going up against like a Sith Lord in like the first episode, like where
Yeah.
they introduce her kind of thing, you know? And like a lot
Yeah.
of people as well, like this is the first time they've even like there's a lot of people who watch The Mandalorian that have never seen Clone Wars or the Rebels or anything. Like
Yeah.
they don't even know who Ahsoka is.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's true.
you can't introduce a character like that who's like way more powerful than the Mandalorian and then just like kind of just
Yeah.
cut
She's on a side quest. Yeah. It's
yeah,
good.
like you have
I
to
thought
have like
maybe
yeah.
something. Sorry, I was just gonna say. I thought something maybe they were trying to bring in a little bit is that Ahsoka was actually getting old and maybe losing some of her skills. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know if it just made that clear, but in her like I don't even know what it's called, but like her like head, like is it her hair? I don't know what to call it, but
Yeah, head thing.
it had like wrinkles in it if you
Yeah.
look really close.
I
Mm,
don't
It
know if that's
actually was
just
bending. It looked,
I don't
and
know if that's just
she didn't.
prosthetics.
Maybe it could be, but she also didn't have it like really high up. Like
Yeah.
her name, but she's like the one that oversees the like clone troops in like the
Shakti.
Shakti.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hers are like massive, and
Yeah.
she's like like mid-age, and they're like really big. I don't know if it's like the same as hers, but if that's meant to like resemble kind of like the
Yeah.
age people of, I thought maybe hers could be on the down, and she looked older in the face.
Yeah.
I don't know. That was just me. So I thought maybe that's why she maybe looked a little slower. Maybe was actually a good fight between her and the magistrate because her age was like eating away at her a bit. It's like, yeah. So that's why I thought it even would have been better to use the force because like I feel like the older you get, the better you get with the force, but maybe you lose a bit of the hand-to-hand combat kind of stuff.
It's
So
physical. Yeah.
yeah. Okay, I wanted to just jump to one thing. The biggest critique I have of the episode was the reason why the Ahsoka did not want to train Grogu. I gotta call him Grogu.
Yeah.
Oh,
She
yeah.
obviously had a mad
Um,
D&M session with him, and then we found
Yeah.
out that cool backstory. Again, call back to the Clone Wars, and
Yeah,
she was talking about how he was a lost child at the temple on Coruscant, and then I think he was rescued or like taken into hiding. So
Mm.
obviously, when Anakin goes up to that kid, he's like, "Master Skywalker, what are we going to do?" And they all hear that. Grogu survived that, so it was
Yeah.
alright. And then
I-
there's a cool callback to Vader where everyone was talking about Vader in terms of how she's talking about. I've seen that Grogu has fear in him, and that
yeah,
I've seen those attachments. Oh, I've seen those sort of emotions and attachments in a fully trained Jedi Knight, and that's a cool callback
Yeah.
to Anakin. And I think just paraphrasing.
Yeah,
I-
but
I
with,
would-
like, I'll
Go-
let you go, Cameron. Okay.
Oh, okay.
All I was gonna say is like, like they all have those emotions, but he's just a baby who, like, well, you know,
That's
or a
right.
toddler, which is I think what you were gonna say anyway. But
That's exactly
everyone has
what I
those
was gonna
emotions.
say.
Like she
All
has
right.
those emotions.
Like, okay,
Yeah.
the thing with me is that the reason why she like saw it with Anakin and it went bad is because Anakin loved like Padme, and that's what made basically like that was the main thing that made him go to the dark side. Like Baby Yoda or Grogu likes with the Mandalorian because he saved his life, but more he like looks at him as a companion, not like a love interest. You know what I mean? Like he would to the dark side for the Mandalorian. Do you know what
Well,
I'm saying?
I'd say more like a father, which like
Yeah,
Anakin
it's like a
is, like,
fatherly figure. Yeah.
mm,
That's exactly right. But like the much better angle, which they didn't use, which I was a bit, this is, like I was saying before, my biggest critique is that the biggest thing she should have said is like, I'm not a Jedi anymore. And because I'm not a Jedi, I can't train any more Jedi. She never really said that. She said she wasn't a Jedi and she said she didn't want to train Grogu, but she never made the link. She actually said that I don't want to train him because I've seen what like he can have dark intentions. I don't want to go down that route. Like it's just kind of annoying.
yeah.
I was about to say something. You know how you're talking about saying about oh I can't train him because of the one thing I've seen what it does to a fully trained Jedi, the fear.
Yeah.
He's got fear in him. I was like obviously that's a good excuse, but then if you look at the experiences Ahsoka has had, maybe you can say oh
Yeah.
that's the only experience she's had with Anakin and that's what it's done to her. But then you look at she's also had experiences with Ezra and Kanan, and he's trained him
Exactly.
fully up as well. So she knows that it's possible to train, and that's the whole point of learning,
Yeah.
of growing. And then obviously, I was about to mention the OT, the original trilogy, where Luke was trained by Yoda, and Luke at the start he was like nothing, and he had to grow and it wasn't just fear. Not fear, sort of. I think it was just inexperienced. But then,
Yeah.
obviously, Ahsoka wouldn't have known about that, so that's why I drew back on the Kanan Ezra thing about Kanan and Ezra teaching him. And even in Rebels, Ahsoka teaches Ezra lessons as well.
And like how
So
to control his emotions and all that.
so I don't know
Yeah.
what's
Yeah.
it got to do with Grogu. Maybe
Yeah.
maybe I think she just says it to tell Mando like to just get him out of the way because she's obviously got bigger plans. Obviously she's promised Sabine or she's promised Ezra, I will find you. And I think the Mando thing is just another sort of sidetrack or like it'll be another distraction to train Grogu. So that's why
Yeah.
I think I guess lucky Mando believed it. And then she tells him at the end another avenue, which is taking to a Jedi, I think Jedi temple or a temple strong with the Force
temple
on
yeah.
Titan, and take him to the
And
top.
who do you think?
Reach out.
Who do you
he'll shoot
think
his
that will like
past.
hear?
I-
Who do you think like will hear that kind of call? I
well,
suppose.
the only
It's got to be Ezra. It's got to be Ezra.
It could be
Who
Ezra.
else going to be?
It could be Ezra. It could be I'd like for it to be Mace Windu if I watch Star Wars
Don't
the
say
video.
it.
Or
I knew you were gonna say
or it could be Cal Kestis from the video game Jedi Fallen Order. I still
Oh,
love
that'd be kind of
Oh.
cool.
Or it
Nah.
could be the most
If you say
plausible-
Qui-Gon Jinn now, I'm gonna knock you out.
No. The most plausible is Luke Skywalker because what did he do in between
Yeah,
Return of the Jedi and Rise of the Force
Train Jedi,
Awakens?
yeah.
Train Jedi and make his own temple. So
Mm.
I
Yeah,
guess
it could
he'd
be
be
Luke.
the main one trying to get students. So I think maybe we'll
Yeah.
see
I think.
the aged Mark Hamill, but there's only
Well,
episode 6, 7, 8 left, so 3 left. So we'll see.
yeah.
They won't do it
I
in
think-
this. It'll come. in
Yeah,
Rebels.
not this season. But I think she also told him. I'm pretty sure she also told him like the Jedi that's like supposed to kind of teach him will like hear the call and like come to him. Which it could also just be her again. Like she might be the one that like kind of hears the call or is like drawn to that temple as well, kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
Like it could still be her. I think
Yeah, it could
as
come
well.
full
I don't
circle
like,
again.
You'll
Mm.
see some sort of Force ghost in the temple. That's going to happen. I don't know whose it's going to be, but
Oh,
I
100%.
think that's
Force Ghost,
happen.
Force Voices. But it's interesting to
Yeah.
see. Like I put a tweet out before. I was saying the focus on this episode is gonna be Ahsoka. But
Yeah.
I thought the
Mm.
Mando looked completely like Din. I think his name's Din Djarin. I think he absolutely looked badass in this
Djarin.
episode. There was some scenes that
Yeah.
just absolutely like he's just walking around with a rifle behind him, and he's just so imposing. Everyone is just looking at him, and they know like they're just scared of him. He's so good. He
Yeah.
just looks like a badass.
Like at the
is what I
start,
was
just like
yeah.
Yeah, when he
military
walks in the
guy's like-
town and all that.
nice armor. He's like kind of scared. He's like nice armor. Nah, that was good. I just wanted to go back to a point we're talking about with like training people and like how the fear of trade. Like it is a good thing that they did bring it up though, because the fear of training someone that does have bad things has actually been a theme. But I don't think it was like a theme enough for Ahsoka not to teach him. But like it goes through. Like obviously that's how
Yeah.
Ben Solo like goes to the dark side is because it's almost like that's the dark side's thing. Like you see something happen, them trying to prevent it is like what makes them turn dark. Like that you see that with Anakin. So that is a good point to bring up.
But remember the whole Jedi, the Jedi Council in the Phantom Menace. They said no to Qui-Gon training Anakin, and he was meant to be the chosen one.
Yeah.
Mm.
So they even denied
Yeah,
the
exactly.
chosen one sort of being trained. And if it wasn't for Qui-Gon telling Obi-Wan, "Oh, you must train the boy before he died," then I guess he wouldn't have taken it up. Like
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because he didn't even want to really. And, yeah. It's an important that's kind of the biggest theme. It's like family and then like training other Jedi is like the biggest thing in Star Wars, and that is also. I know that this is a bit off topic, but I know like that's what makes Luke Skywalker's character like one of the most important characters because even after his father turns bad, he still sees the light in him, and that doesn't actually happen a lot. Like you see that if Ahsoka faces Vader, she's like, well, then I'll have my revenge and kill you. Like even she like to kill Vader in the end because of what happened. So that's why like Luke's character is. That's why I still kind of have a go at the trilogy because like he sees Ben Solo he sees a bad dream about him and then he just wants to kill him in his sleep. It's like your dad literally saw the rise of
that is
light and you want to turn him to the light.
No, Cameron, don't get into it now. No, it's alright. We could go because I want to do. I want to do an episode
Yeah, I was just gonna
after
say-
Mandalorian where I say I want to talk about. I want to do thing on the sequels, and then I want to do does Mandalorian fix the sequel trilogy? Like in terms of like, I want to see how like just is there an argument for it? At the moment, I'm still 100% no, because I hope this episode sets up a Rebel season 5 with Ahsoka. Go back to animated for Ahsoka. Like there's no, I don't know, but you never know. Disney might splash the money on a live action, but I prefer one time thing. It was good. And that's what they seem to be doing with this season. It's just one time thing. I mean, Boba Fett, one time thing. Maybe they'll go into animated. Bo-Katan, but Bo-Katan, I have a feeling we might see again because of Moff Gideon.
Yeah.
And the tracking.
And she's the only other Mandalorian who knows.
Yeah, like Bo-Katan is tracking Moff Gideon. Moff Gideon's tracking Mando for the child. They might come full circle. Ahsoka, I don't think so. I think she's kind of done, unless what you said, Nick.
Well,
with Yoda, Grogu reaching out, and it comes full circle back to Ahsoka.
I mean, also Moff Gideon could be connected to Thrawn as well. Like they could all, because they are Empire and all that, so they could all be. It could all be like one big season finale type of thing as well. And also going back to morals just for a second, it was kind of hilarious with Ahsoka how like at the end of Clone Wars and stuff, she like, you know, you've seen all the memes about her like saying she doesn't want to kill her men and all that kind of stuff, and then like the first scene of this episode is her just cutting down all those guys. I found that pretty funny.
Like she was using full predator hunting mode in the shadows. Ninja
like, going straight through trees and stuff. Like
I was waiting for her to like rip out her spine and like
I like some callbacks to Clone Wars when she was on the roof just blocking tons of lightsabers like she did with the droids in Clone Wars. She's like
it was so nice to see live action droids. I mean, I know we kind of prequels, but live action droids getting cut in half was just like a look, because that needed to happen. I want to say something actually. Sorry, I don't know if we're going a bit over time, but
it's a big episode. I guess we had to, but
right. I thought a missed opportunity was when Ahsoka and Mando team up and they go back to the base. Basically, Ahsoka just takes on the base by herself. I thought a really cool way, like it's cool. She like throws the best guy and says, you know, I killed your bounty hunter. I thought a cooler way would have been something like Mando brings her back in, like pretending like he's got him, and then she like whips out the lights and they break out like that. I know that's a bit clone, but I thought that would have been a way better take, like because then they could have done like a way better like action scene, because it was really just Ahsoka like one on one just killing everyone. I was like, it was cool. Like I would have been much. I mean, that would have been better.
Remember I said at the start of I think the first episode or something, I was talking about mid-season there might be a shift and they won't focus on Mando as much anymore. It kind of has, I think. Like, I feel like Mando has just become a travel device now. He's just like, all right, I gotta take
he's still pretty...
he's still pretty badass, but I feel like sometimes he's just like there to take Grogu from A to B lately. He's just been tossed around and he's just like getting it. But I guess his the task he's tasked with, in terms of like, this is a species no one knows about. I get why he's going from A to B, like jumping around, getting info from people. But I think Ahsoka's like final thing. I think that's probably the final nail in the coffin in terms of his final objective, and then he get taken away. But there's 3 episodes for it, so there might be. I think there's going to be a couple more pit stops.
I think the whole Moff Gideon thing will come to maybe not a close, but at least they'll go into him a bit more this season. I think at the end there'll be the tease of the Jedi that calls Grogu. That's probably my bet. Like you'll probably see maybe like Ezra or Luke or Mace Windu pick up the Skype phone through the Force and say, I'm coming to get you or something.
I think it's gonna come full circle with the Bo-Katan. I think we'll see her again just because of the Mando connection. I think either Moff Gideon's gonna track Mando down, he's gonna get into a bit of trouble, and then Bo-Katan will save him, and then there'll be like a final showdown. We'll see what happens, because Moff Gideon's got a pretty decent sized army. He's got a full Star Cruiser. He's got the Dark Troopers. So three Mandalorians and then Mando himself. That's like it's gonna be tough. So it's gonna
the good thing, there's a lot of avenues that can still go down. Like there's me, honestly, they've actually developed a lot in this season in terms of just like tying into Clone Wars and Rebels. Like they actually have gone into them a lot. Like you could almost like some seasons of Clone Wars would make like no progress in terms of like the backstory of main characters. Like some could just be like all on clones and not as much as Rebels, but similar to Rebels. Like the first season didn't really make much progress.
There's more filler in Rebels, but Clone Wars does have its filler. Like
Exactly.
There'll
That
be
sounds
just some. There'll be just
essentially
some
just
where it's
filler,
like it'll be like just
but
a
like
war
yeah,
objective or like a war mission.
exactly.
I like
Yeah,
that. I like
exactly.
those kind of ones. It's
They
just
were
like
cool.
it
They were
adds more
cool, but just
scope.
like
Yeah.
yeah, like it didn't like further the story. Whereas like everything with Ahsoka is obviously important because it's like Anakin's Padawan and all that. But yeah, that's another thing. But honestly, this episode was pretty close to a 10 out of 10. I'd say. Like this was
Yeah.
a very like
I
this is
absolutely
like
loved it.
better than like movies. It is because it's like it's shorter, it condenses more, and it explains like cooler stuff in a
I don't
quicker.
know. I don't know if I'd agree to like a 10 out of 10. I liked it, but I think there have been a couple like more entertaining episodes
Yeah,
this
fair
season.
enough.
Like,
Fair
don't get me wrong, the like wow factor of like seeing Ahsoka and like you see her with
Yeah.
the white lightsaber. It is really cool, but like if anything, I preferred the episode with Bo-Katan more in like terms of like
Really?
writing and scripting and like yeah, it just seemed more. I guess
It
just
What?
fit
more real.
Mandalorian better.
Not
I agree.
forced.
Yeah,
Actually,
yeah.
Oh
It
yeah,
was a
hundred
better
percent. It
Mandalorian
100%
episode.
fit Mandalorian. Like I can, like if I look at images now, obviously I absolutely love the episode. But if I look at images now of Ahsoka, sometimes I can see why people might say, oh, it's a bit off-putting. Like
Yeah.
in terms of, like she
Yeah.
might not fit for it.
And like just imagine like imagine Maul going against that lady.
Yeah,
Like,
true.
No,
you know,
more,
like
more would
what he
force
do to
stroke
her.
her. More would force stroke her if she even lay a
Yeah,
finger. Like even
it's just
point
that's
the
yeah.
best guy
More
spirit.
would more clap like a squad of troopers with like a wall, and yeah, tell he's not gonna go. I don't know. Just yeah, it is a bit, but that's what I mean. Maybe she like they were trying to portray her getting older and like abandoning the Jedi, kind of
Mm.
in a way. I don't know. That was the only thing that I could think of that would justify her maybe not being
Yeah, but Yoda's old and he'll still like I don't know. I guess like
true. That's true. But he's like old as like he's like 1,000
Yeah.
years old.
Mm.
Always old.
Anyway, yeah. So good
Yeah.
episode all in all.
Yeah,
It was still good though. I still liked it a lot.
absolutely. I freaked out. It was too bad. It was too bad how much I freaked out.
Yeah, I'll probably watch it again just to stay up a day with it because it was just like there was a lot of like references as well. Like every 2 minutes there was a call to another thing.
It
from
was a
some
Dave
clone.
Filoni episode. Like it was a Clone Wars Rebels
Yeah.
episode, 100%. I think
Yeah.
I
Well
think
said,
the
yeah.
last
Well said.
I think the episode 3 and this one 5 definitely Clone Wars and Rebels episodes in terms of like inspiration. I still think episode 1's really underrated. I think I actually
I like
enjoyed that.
one.
With the
Oh,
One in the
that's the
Bo-Katan
Krayt Dragon,
the
right?
Krayt Dragon. I think the
Yeah.
way that was shot is just way above the last couple, like the whole season.
Mhm.
This episode,
They
I'm
said
not
it
gonna
yeah,
lie, this episode was shot really well, and I think the sound effects were amazing as well. I think the audio editing was crazy, especially the lightsaber sounds. I think it was really good.
Yeah.
But I think
And the best part.
the first episode in terms of how it was shot is just a level above still.
Yeah, I agree with that. There was more going on. It would have been harder to make with the
Yeah.
first episode. Just more dialogue and like, how it, like every word mattered in this episode. Whereas then it was kind of just like,
Yeah.
Mm.
yeah. But
All right.
good. It was a good episode. So
Yeah.
I'll probably rewatch. Yeah.
I kind of like the teasers like throughout the episodes, like I want to know your master, and then you're like throughout the episode you're like, oh, I wonder who the master is, and then she drops the name Admiral Thrawn, and I was like, wow, just
Yeah, that was
more-
pretty good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's pretty crazy. Still, I still think to this day like how Ezra and Thrawn survived the hyperspace jump because I think the glass was broken in the ship, and it's just like we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll wrap it up. We'll wrap it up quickly.
Yeah, we'll
it's
wrap
been
it
half
up.
an hour almost, but. It was a big
So
episode
everyone-
this week, guys.
Just real quick, everyone, let's just put a bet on who the Jedi is. Like just for fun. let's-
Okay.
Oh, which
Jedi's
Jedi?
gonna
Okay,
be-
yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
It has to be one.
Well,
I
I'm
can't
gonna-
name two, so
I'm gonna go with Ahsoka. Like I'm just gonna throw it out there.
okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think it's Ezra. So
Ezra. I'm not
Ellie?
gonna say Ezra because of Ahsoka's objective,
I
and I think they'll go
same
for Rebel
as
season
Winfrey
5.
is
You're gonna say Mace Windu, aren't you?
Nah, I think I'm gonna say Luke, just because of how much they're trying to tie it in with the sequel trilogy in terms of the last episode with Snoke. I think Luke is too obvious, and that's why I think they're not gonna go Luke. But I'm just gonna go Luke then.
Well,
Yeah,
also
A de-aged
Ahsoka,
Luke. A de-aged Luke.
this
Yeah.
is also like the latest we've seen Ahsoka as well, so she's gotta go away at some point. She's gotta die.
I
sometime.
hope they do a Rebel season
That's
5.
true.
Honestly, I want to see an animated
Oh.
Rebel season 5 and just
Yeah.
finish off the Ezra Ahsoka story because we go into the sequel trilogy and they're nowhere to be seen. So they have to something
Exactly.
has to happen to them.
But well, look, it could be like that, but then you also don't see Ahsoka in Revenge of the Sith. I know it's after, but like I'm just saying,
Yeah.
like they could just
I'd
to the
rather
side.
them not die personally and just go into hiding or something like. Because Ahsoka's
Honestly,
not
I
a Jedi.
kind of
so-
rather them die. I'd kind of
Yeah.
rather them die, but
It'd be
like,
a pretty cool scene.
like it's just that there's nothing for them to die for
Well-
at the moment that would be worth dying for. Do you know what I'm saying?
It makes
It's
sense
like-
for Ahsoka to not like in terms of like just go into hiding, just find Ezra or whatever, because she's not a Jedi. Like she can just live out the rest of her life. She's got no qualms with anyone besides Thrawn and Ezra, and the Empire's
Yeah.
fallen sort of. So Thrawn may not know that
Yeah.
yet because who knows where him and Ezra ended up.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it could be like a. Honestly, it would be kind of cool as one of the Jedi that have possible like bad intentions, like go against another Jedi that we're like training. So like, say if Ezra goes up a dark side turn to Grogu, that'd be cool. And like that, I don't know. I'm just theorizing, but like if obviously, well, I don't know if it's obvious. I don't know if they thought far ahead to where they wanted the sequels to try and like all these new Jedi characters they're bringing up. But if they do have to die off before then, that would be a good way to do it because that'd just be cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm babbling on, but yeah.
Nah, it was a good episode this week. I absolutely enjoyed it. Dave Filoni, well done to all.
Yeah, head off.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
Clone
good.
Wars Rebels, freaking wet dream there. Not gonna sum it up, but yeah, we've been half an hour. This was the biggest one we've discussed, so hopefully you guys enjoyed it, and thank you to Cam and Nick. And then I
Thanks,
think
man.
we
Anytime.
might do
Cheers.
next week. Next week we're gonna I'm putting the suggestion out now. I think we're gonna review Lord of the Rings on 4K. I think we'll chuck out a review on how the 4K is gonna look at. I think we'll chuck it on the. I think that's gonna be interesting.
It's a potential.
Yeah.
That's a potential.
It's, okay.
But
All
yeah.
right, boys.
Okay.
Thank you, lads,
Cool.
Have a good
for
one.
watching. Take care.
Cheers.
God bless.